you're my best mate, aren't you?
Pack her in.
Technically speaking, it is an engagement, and I'd definitely be the first fella in history to break it off with Beryl. And then again, I have to face the question, do I really want to?
Yes.
I agree.
Why did you get engaged in the first place? I mean, you were doing all right before, weren't you?
Yeah. Yes, of course I was. Fantastic. Great.
Well, what are you getting now that you weren't getting before? And I'd be grateful if you wouldn't spare me any details.
It was 4:20.
Yes.
On a Saturday afternoon.
Oh, I've never heard of a better reason for getting engaged.
The classified results start coming through at 5:20. I was in a hurry to get home and see them.
Well, you could have lashed out on a newspaper, Geoffrey. They're still slightly cheaper than engagement rings.
Roland, I work hard all week, and one of the few things that make it worthwhile is watching that teleprinter that types by itself. Man, you, 3, Hudful, nil. I will it to give results. It works sometimes.
It might be compulsive viewing, Geoffrey, but is it a good reason for getting engaged?
I'd like to make a point, Roland. It's a very small ring.
There are no small marriages. They're all the same size.
You're not being very helpful, Roland.
I told you what to do. Break it off.
I mean, it's for Beryl's sake rather than mine. I mean, it's her future, and futures shouldn't be entered into lightly. What should I say to her in actual words?
The truth.
Right. What is it?
Well, you've had time to think about it, and you don't want to be engaged any longer.
Beryl, we've been engaged now for over 2.5 days. What happens if she asks me for an actual reason? Beryl's very attached to actual reasons.
Oh, there's loads of actual reasons.
Fear and trembling don't count.
All right, tell her you're too immature.
Me? What do you think I do at nights? Play Scrabble, eat sardine sandwiches or something?
All right. Or tell her that when she's 25 and getting fitted for false teeth, you'll be 26 and just coming up to your peak.
Roland, are you sure you know the first thing about birds?
But the first thing to know about birds, mate, is not to get engaged to them.
Thanks very much, Roland. Thanks very much for your timely advice. No, I'll tell her in my own way. Gently. Tactfully. Firmly.
I think you've just stapled a bank statement to your tie.
You see, Beryl appreciates those kinds of qualities in a man. She likes a man to act like a man. Think I'll get my ring back?
And how's the Star of India today? Have you managed to catch the light in it yet?
I'm not trying to catch the light in it, Mother. Anyway, large diamonds are vulgar.
Yes, I thought there might be. While you're up, Beryl, would you give the mother-in-law's tongue an aspirin?
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and it just so happens that some people behold in different ways. I've still got a bruise from that look that Brenda Cheetham gave me when her eyes happened to be on my finger.
The plant, the mother-in-law's tongue plant.
You know, that Iris Underwood's pathetic. I'm sure she thinks her square-cut sapphire with diamond shoulders set in platinum, which I've never particularly noticed, makes up for a very small fiancé with a sloping forehead. Mother, how long have you been giving aspirins to plants?
Well, you don't plop them on the soil, love. You dissolve them in a glass of water. All plants respond to a little pick-me-up, you know. They're only human. Have you thought about a date yet?
What sort of date?
The sort you find in calendars, love.
Mother, we've only been engaged for 64 hours. Can't we be in love for a bit before we get married?
Don't leave things to chance, Beryl. You decide on a date.
Well, Geoffrey might want to say.
Oh, men never make decisions, Beryl. They just pray they'll go away.
Anyway, I haven't had time to even consider a date. Not a definite date. Not a date like, say, April the 29th, for example.
Is that a Saturday, love?
Oh, yeah. Love you.
Me too. You, I mean.
Oh, Geoffrey B.B.
I never give her a passing fancy these days.
Who?
B.B. Bridget Bardot.
Bobbles Bonbon.
Oh, I'm sorry, Beryl.
I'll forgive you just this once.
Oh, no, you mustn't. It might not be very much, but it might prove a very strong point.
To love is to forgive, and to forgive as long as you live. Just this once.
But it might prove we're not as compatible as we thought we were.
Hey, BB, Beryl Battersby as well. Beryl Battersby and Geoffrey Bubbles Bonbon. It must be fate.
I mean, if we're not as compatible as we think we are, or even as we thought we were... Well, if we aren't, or if, loosely speaking, we weren't, then in that particular case, Beryl, I think we ought to call it off.
What?
Lunch.
Oh, you've had a rotten, miserable morning, haven't you? Oh.
Beryl, you don't approve of passion on the pavement. Especially not in the middle of Market Street. Especially not in broad daylight. Not even in broad nightlight.
Geoffrey, that was last week when you were just a fella. This week you're a fiancé.
Mr. Molyneux, the friendly branch manager of this branch, strongly disapproves of debauchery on his doorstep during banking hours. Oh. Hello, Mr. Molyneux. Beryl. This is Mr. Molyneux in person. Mr. Molyneux, this is, Beryl Battersby, a fiancée of mine.
Good. Congratulations, Lomax.
Lomax?
I've been working here 2 years and he still thinks I'm Roland. Roland's only been there 10 months.
Oh. Well, he's bound to be biased, Geoffrey. You see, he's bald.
I'm irritating you, Beryl.
No, Geoffrey.
I say if I am.
You're not.
I mean, I'll understand, honest.
Oh, you really have had a rotten, miserable morning, haven't you?
I mean, anyone would understand you not looking forward to a lifetime of irritation with me, Beryl.
Hey, why don't you take a belting little bird out to lunch with you?
I don't know any. Oh. Beryl, that's the best picture of Mike Summerby drawing Chelsea custodian Bonetti off his line before squeezing a shot past the post for 75 new pence I've ever seen. In fact, on careful reflection, it's the only picture of Chelsea custodian. Mrs. Mildred Battersby of Merton Avenue wishes to announce the engagement of her early daughter...
Only daughter?
You can't put that in the paper!
Why not?
It's 37.5 new pence a line.
Mrs. Mildred Battersby, my only mother, wishes to make the announcement, Geoffrey, and she wishes to pay 37.5 new pence a line for it.
Don't you think it sounds a bit official, putting it in the paper like that?
It's more than a bit official, Geoffrey. It's a whole lot official.
Am I getting on your nerves again, Beryl?
No, Geoffrey. You weren't before.
Ah! What about the post? What about the things you get in the post?
What sort of things?
Well, you know, things. Things that can only be sent in plain brown wrappers. Percy filth things.
Well...
Well, think of your poor mother when she comes down in the morning, how embarrassed she'll be when she finds Percy filth lying all over the doormat.
Geoffrey, if I know my mother, she'll be at Percy filth long before I get the chance. Well, how do you like it now that you're finally doing it?
What?
Lying in bed with me.
Fully clothed in the middle of a furniture store was not what I had in mind.
Beds are not for bouncing in, beds are for sleeping in.
Sorry.
What else are they for?
Is that my start of a tenner, no conferring?
Honestly, you fiancés, there's no holding you.
Beryl, did my bouncing on the bed annoy you? It's a nasty habit I've got, and I must have millions of them.
Good.
Well, speaking on behalf of my millions of nasty habits, Beryl, there's something that I've got to say which is of great importance, which affects us both.
Which side of the bed do you sleep on?
Which do you?
I asked first.
In the middle.
Me too?
With nothing on. In the middle. With nothing on.
Well, I mean, who does sleep with things on these days? I mean, honestly.
But we both can't sleep in the middle of the bed with no...
Is that what you wanted to say?
What?
Something of great importance.
When?
Before.
can't remember.
Geoffrey, N-O spells no. We're only engaged.
That's true. Just engaged. Only engaged, no more, no less. Just.
Can I help you?
How much is this sweet?
£380.
Oh, no, I don't think you can help me, thank you. I don't think anybody can.
Come on in. What happened?
What about?
The what about you were on about before you went out?
I couldn't tell her, Roland. It's impossible in the middle of Market Street.
If you'd wanted to, you could have told her in 5 seconds flat.
You've no idea how distracting coloured carrier bags can be.
Look, if you'd wanted to, you could have told her falling over a cliff with a stick of celery up your nose.
How can you tell her that you're breaking off the engagement when she's putting the engagement announcement in the paper?
Oh, well. So now the whole world's in on it.
Well, mainly the Greater Manchester area. Hey, I've got a great picture of Mike Summerby.
Up a blind alley with his pants down.
No! Drawing Chelsea custodian, Burnett.
Do you know what's wrong with you? You got no real motive for not getting married and no real motive for getting married.
Do you know how much bedroom suites cost? That's a real motive.
Munich's not in Mexico, is it?
Germany, München.
No, am I right in thinking that München is nearer than Mexico?
You can always come to me, Roland, whenever you get stuck on geography.
In 3 years, we could go to Munich for a fortnight, see 10 World Cup games, and still come home with change from a bedroom suite.
We couldn't.
3 years.
2 years, 7 months and 3 weeks, actually. We couldn't, could we?
Easy enough for 2 single lads.
If and when I get married, how will you manage by yourself, all alone in this great big rambling house?
Oh, I'll probably just waste away, love.
Will you start talking to yourself and taking in stray cats?
Professional gentleman, love. Seeking homely accommodation.
How homely?
Oh, for goodness sake, Beryl, I'm not going to marry the first bachelor that comes along.
Mother, you're not going to advertise for bachelors, are you?
You don't advertise for bachelors, love. You recognise them. They're the ones that never have any buttons missing.
Mother, there must be a lot of divorced men who can sew buttons on.
Zip fasteners, love. Divorced men go in for zips a lot. And they're invariably very good dancers in the Latin American section.
You will manage to manage without me, won't you? If and when I get married. I don't think you'll even miss me.
Oh, of course I'll miss you, Beryl. I won't simply be gaining a son, I'll finally be losing a daughter. Beryl, you're not having second thoughts, are you?
Do you think Geoffrey's really ready for marriage?
Oh, marriage isn't something a man gets ready for, Beryl. It's something he comes to terms with, like a receding hairline.
Yeah, but they've got to want to get married.
Oh, Beryl, you do keep getting bogged down by theory all the time. Ah, a dashing knight in shining armour.
Or it might be Geoffrey.
Oh, good evening, Mrs. Battersby.
Good evening, Geoffrey.
You've hardly changed at all.
Since last Thursday?
Oh, is it as long ago as all that? I see you're making another lampshade. Must have quite a lot of them by now. Must be in the blood.
This one's for a guide dog.
I didn't know they were fond of lampshades, Mrs. Battersby.
They sell them.
Ah, pardon?
I believe you've asked my daughter for her hand in marriage.
Oh, have you heard, Mrs. Battersby? I expect Beryl must have mentioned it.
There was a time, Geoffrey, when parents were consulted.
I'm the one Geoffrey's engaged to.
I wouldn't want to do anything to annoy your mother, Beryl.
Would anyone like a cup of tea? Well, I think I would.
Your mother lavishes disapproval on me, Beryl.
She loves you like a son. Eh? You'll be her son when... Fabulous knot. In your tie? I've never known anyone tie knots like you.
That?
Makes me go all goosey in my erogenous zones.
You haven't got any.
All women have got erogenous zones, Geoffrey. Mine just move about a bit.
Where are they now?
They're in my kneecap. Me left kneecap.
That one?
Ooh, all you've got to do is just point with your finger and I'm like putty in your hands.
Oh, it is a bit. Do you want me to play fast and loose with your left kneecap for a little while, Beryl?
Are you feeling nervous?
No.
I'm not.
I am.
Good, so am I. We've got to be absolutely honest with each other, haven't we, Geoffrey?
Always.
And never do anything behind the other's back.
I wouldn't do anything behind your back, Beryl.
Except my bra strap.
No, I've never tried to do it. I've tried to undo it, but I can't crack the
Hey, when we're married, I might not even wear one.
Beryl,
Oh, except when my mum comes to tea.
I never go behind your back for anything. The World Cup in Munich, for example. I probably wouldn't bother going. No, I'd be quite content to stay at home and watch it on telly, if we could afford one. And Roland can go, and other single fellas. And they'll see it... Except when your mother comes to tea.
Is that all you think of me, Geoffrey Scrimgeour? That if we got married, I wouldn't let you go to the World Cup? I went back for it. Mike Summerfield kicking Chelsea off his line.
Beryl, that's the nicest... But you didn't want me to buy it at lunchtime.
I don't want to marry a man on my terms, Geoffrey. I want to marry a man on his. Mother, the traditional way of knocking on a door is before you open it.
It's something to do with coordination, love. I always stamp my feet before everyone else in the St. Bernard waltz. Your father will be all right for Saturday night, won't you, Geoffrey?
Are you playing snooker with him, Mrs. Beckinsale?
All right for the party. The Beryl's engagement to Geoffrey party.
Mum?
Now, don't tell me, Beryl. I know. What with all the excitement of the party, slipped your mind completely.
Very, very completely.
Now, you will tell your father, won't you, Geoffrey? And your friend at the bank, Ronald.
Roland.
Oh.
Wow. Wowee. How time flies when you're engrossed.
When you what, Geoffrey?
Engrossed. Discussing Beryl's interest in left kneecap, for example. Well, good night, Mrs. Battersby.
Good night, Geoffrey.
Oh, my leg's gone to sleep.
Geoffrey!
Good night, Beryl.
Geoffrey! Has Geoffrey gone, love?
Limping rapidly in the general direction of Outer Mongolia, thanks to an engagement party which hadn't slipped my mind on account of my mother not having mentioned it until about a minute ago.
Yes, sir. Well, I must go to bed. I've got to get up.
I've been wandering the streets all night. Gleaming wet in the moonlight.
All night?
I only got back in time for the wrestling.
Did you,
No. Girls aren't like us, Roland.
The one I went out with last night is. Plays in goal for King Street Co-op.
First team?
Made some great saves. Got nothing past her.
Beryl says I can go to Munich even if we get married.
Great.
It's very thoughtful of her, isn't it, Roland?
I'll say it is. She put a lot of thought into that one. I'm going to have to make a speech, aren't I?
Pardon?
Well, I'm going to get lumbered as your best man, aren't I?
Roland, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to marry the girl.
No?
No. Well, it doesn't, does it?
All right.
it doesn't. Oh, by the way, you're invited to the engagement party on Saturday.
He did say he was coming, didn't he?
Are you trying to find a particular programme, Uncle Arthur?
Any question?
Oh, it's much too late for any questions, Uncle Arthur. As a matter of fact, I don't think it's quite the right day. Well, Beryl, it all seems to be going down very well.
How can you possibly say that, Mother? It's nearly 10:30 and Geoffrey's not here yet.
Oh, well, there's always one or two who don't come, love. He might have a prior engagement or something. Well, it was only a joke. Oh, God. Are you enjoying yourself, Ronald?
Yes, thanks, Mrs. Buttersby.
Battersby.
Roland. It's all happening over there. Somebody else has just got another house on Park Lane.
Well, feel free to get yourself a second glass of shandy, Roland. Oh, we don't have given you up for lost, but come in now, you're here. This is Beryl's intended, Arthur.
No. Geoffrey. I've always been Geoffrey, ever since you've known me.
No, love. This is Arthur. Mr. Battersby, Beryl's great-uncle. Can I leave you two to have a little chat together?
Bad luck, Everton, going down to Stoke like that.
Do you like stuffed alligators?
Pardon?
Do you like stuffed alligators?
I've never had one, Mr. Battersby. Are they nice?
Here. There. Now, that's for you and for Beryl. Now, if you don't get married, or if you do get married and get divorced, I'd want it back, you know. You see, you don't come by stuffed alligators every day.
Thanks very much, Mr. Battersby.
You're welcome.
I thought you'd finally seen the light. What do you want to turn up at your own engagement party for?
I have finally seen the light, Roland. I've been thinking about Beryl all day, and I've come to the conclusion that she's the only girl for me. I'll probably never find another girl like Beryl. I'll probably never find another girl anyway.
No shit.
Hello, Beryl. You look fabulous. Fabulous dress.
Hello, Geoffrey.
Beryl, you'll never know what a terrible day I've had. What a terrible week of torment I've had. At one point, I even thought about calling off the engagement.
Did you?
At several points, even. But I'm glad to say it's all over now.
And so am I, Geoffrey. So there's your ring back. And I hope the two of you will be very happy.